everybody, welcome back to my channel Nathalie's World. I'm happy to see you in my new episode about nature in France. Today I brought you to the north of Lyon, the city that you can see just behind my back. It's one of the main cities of France, which is famous for its cuisine. But today I don't want to talk about cuisine, but to show you beautiful nature and wildlife that live in this region of France. So what do you think about it? Let's go exploring.
To start with, let's have a look at landscapes of Lyon's countryside from a bird's view. Lyon has a moderate continental climate. It is a typical climate of Western Europe with cold winters and hot summers. This climate determines the diversity of vegetation and predominance of certain plant species. Around Lyon, you will find mainly hills in the west and large plains in the east. This variety of environment is perfect to discover many different animals and plants. I was in France between the end of summer and beginning of autumn. During this time, animals are more active as they begin to stock up for winter. It is easier to spot them in nature.
These berries are called blackberries. I just cannot imagine that you can find those berries growing like this on the trees, just abandoned in the forest, and you can pick them up and eat for free. Amazing, they are very delicious. Wow! C'est magnifique, c'est vraiment bon. C'est mon première fois que je mange le mûr comme ça.
Wild blackberries are growing on brambles. It is very common that people pick them up along the roads or inside forests. You can eat them directly like me or make jam. It is very easy to cook. Just add sugar, stew on fire, and finally get your delicious jam. At the end of the summer, nature is ready to share its harvest with people, animals, and birds. Like this Eurasian skylark who needs to stock up to survive next winter. Some other birds prefer flying further to the south during winter, like this black redstart, who will most probably nest near the Mediterranean Sea and will be back for spring. For now, they are all enjoying peaceful days of the end of the summer. I really like this period of the year too. Hares are enjoying their time as well. When walking near high grass, you may only notice their long ears. In case of danger, they lower themselves down or disappear inside bushes. Red-legged partridges also like high grasses and bushes where they can easily hide. These birds live all year round in the same area. During spring, a female will lay around 10 eggs and a couple will raise their chicks during a year. At the end of the summer, it is already hard to differentiate parents and chicks. The chicks will spend the winter with their parents and leave them at the end of the winter and start looking for mates. At the end of the summer, it is also time for grapes to be ready. Grapes are harvested around September, and in this region of France, they will be used to produce Beaujolais wine.
And this is wild grape growing like this, just on the field, and I picked up 2 little branches and tried a little bit. It's still acid, but just in a couple of weeks it will be ready to make perfect French wine.
French landscapes are really picturesque. Everywhere I traveled, I always found meadows surrounded by beautiful trees with cows, along with traditional houses or churches. It looks like French countryside is out of time. I really felt peaceful walking in the countryside and just enjoying the moment. This common wood pigeon is easily distinguished from his cousin living in cities by its white color, and it is also bigger than the ones in cities. After harvest, they are often seen in fields looking for remaining seeds. The Eurasian stone curlew is much more difficult to spot with its camouflaged plumage. It is highly recognizable by its singing at the end of the day. I was lucky to spot it just in front of where I stayed in the evening. In the beginning of autumn, a harvest is ready. This European stonechat is happy to eat a lot and make provisions for winter. Now we are moving more inside a forest to learn about some plants. Some of them you can recognize immediately, and some are very useful. Why? Let's see.
This is a hazelnut tree growing like this in Rio, in wilds, in woods of France. And these are little hazelnuts. It's amazing to find real hazelnuts and real in nature like this, because I'm used to buying them in the shops and they're quite expensive, but here you can just see how they grow up. In fact, you can see that those nuts
come from this tree, but not from the plastic bag that you can buy in the shop. Amazing, guys.
In this area, to the west of Lyon, most of old houses were made out of yellow stones. These stones were extracted from this old quarry, which is now open for visitors. Without so many people coming by, this little grey tit is now hanging around looking for some small insects and water kept on some rusted metallic parts. Some volunteers revived this place and built some little houses using these beautiful yellow stones. Nowadays, no more stones are extracted from this quarry, and nature has recovered the area. The place is greener, and thanks to surrounding vegetation, more insects and birds are attracted to live here. Like this Eurasian jay. It is a common bird of a French countryside which can be recognized by its blue-color plumage on wings. This cute bird can be seen foraging on the forest floor, picking up some berries, fallen fruit, and bugs. French landscapes are splendid, aren't they? Have you ever visited French countryside?
It's amazing. Look what I found. These are hope seeds that are produced for making beer. The first time I see real hope seeds in real like that. Beer that you drink come from these seeds. Guys, I just showed you chestnut trees, and these are chestnuts which fell on the ground, and this is how they look in real. In France, people fry chestnuts and eat them and consider as a delicacy, and they sell everywhere as a snack. Even though these fluffy balls look fluffy, they are actually not. These are little thorns, so they sting you.
These and other insects are essential for all plants. By flying from flower to flower, they pollinate plants, and without insects, there would be no fruit and vegetables. When walking in the countryside, you may find some beehives. Beekeepers often move them from one place to another to always allow them be near to flowers. During winter, a beekeeper would put them inside a forest to be protected from coldest temperatures, but still get in some cold. like if they lived in a tree. Nature must be preserved because it's source of all our power. Did I convince you to get out of the bustling French cities and explore the countryside? As you have seen from this video, the French countryside is dotted with little peaceful villages and breathtaking landscapes. From idyllic vineyards to stretches of lavender, France is filled with beautiful places for travelers to explore. It is the type of region that you don't know what you are missing out on until you get your first glimpse. Grey herons are unmistakable, tall with long legs, a long beak, and grey, black and white feathering. Spot these prehistoric-looking birds standing like a statue on the edge of ponds and lakes, contemplating their next meal. They can stand with their neck outstretched for hours. They consume lots of fish, but also small birds such as ducklings, small mammals and amphibians. In France, after harvesting, grey herons can sometimes be seen in fields looking for rodents.
And these guys, ow, exactly, don't touch it. Guys, this is nettle plant. You should not touch it because it's really, really picky. It has thorns and after it really doesn't feel pleasant. But at the same time, you can make soup out of it and it's really delicious. So when you see this kind of plant, don't touch it. Don't do it like me because now it really stings in my finger. Ow.
Now it's time to go home and have a nice French dinner with French Beaujolais wine made of grapes growing on these fields and toasts with blackberry jam. Thank you for watching my video. And I hope you really enjoyed your time contemplating beautiful nature of France. Subscribe my channel for more interesting videos around the world. Ring a bell to enable all notifications. And I will see you in my next video.